Okay, moving on again. Step number 27, the transfer case. Again, this looks pretty procedural. Nothing really special here. The case part number AX31108-3 is the one with the little ridges on there. So the -3 is the ridges, and the -4 has no ridges. So just want to keep that in mind. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We are going to, I see all these little arrows pointing this way, so it looks like we're going to start with this unit. Let's take 3 of our 5x11 bearings. Go ahead and place them into the 3 holes here. Push them down in with your thumb so that they seat. Make sure they're in there nice. And we will put this in the direction with, just like that. Alright, now we are going to start where? Let's start with the big gear in the shaft. Go ahead and take the large shaft. There's 2 ones. One has a hex and one is got a couple holes in it. Let's stick the little pin through the center hole here, and trying to see which end we're going to use here. And it's not really showing in the directions because one end is longer than the other. Okay, here we go. Let's take the longer end and hold it this way. And we're going to take our 27-tooth gear and slide it over. There we go. Just like so. And we're going to drop this down into that hole on the transfer case. I hope I'm doing this right. If not, we'll get it figured out one way or the other. Now it looks like the second one is going to use the gear that has the hex in here, and we're going to use this little hex shaft. And I think that one drops down into the center, like so. And then this one looks like it just drops down in there with no shaft. Is that right? Yes, that is right, because we're going to connect over on this end. Okay. Again, it's not showing any grease in there. I'm just out of habit going to put a little in. I'm just going to drop it in between the little gears there. Give it a little spin, and it'll lube stuff up. Again, I'm not sure if we're going to do that, but a little lube on gears never hurts. Okay, so now let's take this one and drop our 3 bearings in here, just like we did on the first case. And that should use all the bearings in your kit. So we'll slide those down in like so. Put this case together. Just like that. And I can see that there's the slot in here for that other gear. Just like when you put anything together, let's make sure that it doesn't bind up. Okay, so there are 2 screws to put in here. Actually, there are no screws to put in yet. Okay, so we are going to put our cup on, and as we hold this in this direction like this, because remember you want the little ridges on here to be pointing this way. We're going to drop this cup on. There's a hole in the shaft here and a hole in the cup with threads. There's a non-threaded side and a threaded side. Let's keep the threaded side towards us and get a little bit of thread lock. Put it on the threads of the shoulder bolt. You don't need a lot. I always like to rub any excess off. And we'll go ahead and insert this. And tighten it down. It is metal to metal, so get it nice and snug. This is what it should look like at this point. Now let's go ahead and attach the transfer case to the transmission. I'm going to take the transmission with the threaded portion facing in this direction and the transfer case pointed in this direction. And remember this hole here with all the little serrated notches in there? And we have the serrated notches on this one. Also, there's a flat spot on the shaft and a flat spot on the gear inside. Let's go ahead and match up the flat spots. Make sure everything's in the right orientation here. And see if we can't get this to slip together. Or did I do something wrong? Does not want to slip in. Seems like this shaft here is too long. Because that's got to slip in yay far all the way through. Well, I'm going to go off camera here and see what I did wrong, if anything. Alright, got it figured out. Actually, I did not do anything wrong. It's just very, very difficult to get in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-separate the transfer case here, just like so. I'm going to take off the back cap, and I'm going to take this gear out. And that's the one with the little flat spot. We're going to line this up. You're going to want to line up the screw holes here with the screw holes here and make sure that the serrated edges grab properly in the right spot. Go ahead and push that together. And then we're going to take the gear and drop it back over the shaft until it gets back in, and then we will put the back half of the transfer case back on, and voila, got that done. Okay, so we got a couple screws to put in here, 3 of them total. The short one is going to go here, and the 2 long ones are going to go in there. So we're going to go ahead and tighten those down, and we'll be right back. Okay, and this is what it looks like when it's all back together now. Just like I keep saying with any parts, whenever you put anything together, go ahead and test it out. Make sure that nothing is binding up. This should be smooth. There'll be a little bit of resistance in there, especially if you used some grease like I did. However, it should very easily turn, and there should be no notchiness or any hang-ups. If there is, go ahead and pull it all apart and find out what is causing that. Okay, let's get set up and move on to step number 28. Step number 28 is pretty straightforward. It's the motor mount and the shield. So we're going to take our transmission and hold it in this direction and go ahead and grab your motor mount, and this hole here will slip over the shaft just like so, and you'll see that there are some little nubs here, and those will slide into the nubs on the back of the plate just like that. And we will put 2 screws in the bottom only, and that will be these 2 screws. I'm going to go ahead and get those tightened up and be right back. The second part here will be to install this little plate, and it's pretty simple. We put the 2 bottom screws in here and left these 2 screw holes open. This is going to slide over the shaft, and you're going to line the 2 screw holes up like this, and it lines up with the cutouts for the motor, and we'll install the 2 screws into here. I'll tighten those up, and again I'll be right back. And that's what it looks like when it is done. Now Axial does make a upgraded metal version of this, which you can see in the directions here. If you're using a more powerful motor than what the stock one is, or if you're really running hard, you may want to consider that as an upgrade. So this is what we have so far. Next step, we're going to install the slipper clutch.